Hi, as you can see, it's just gone 10:30 at night, and my brother-in-law has just asked me to make him a focaccia for the morning. So I'm going to give you a nice, quick, easy recipe that you can leave proving overnight, finish it off in the morning, and away you go. Cheers. So to start this off, we're going to need 600 grams of water. We're going to add 50 grams of oil. We're going to add 15 grams of honey and 18 grams of yeast all into the water. I've got it set on a set of scales, set to 0, so we can measure nice and accurately. So that's that in there, back to 0, and then we can go 50 grams of oil. Use a nice olive oil, and then half a teaspoon of yeast, so about that much. That can all go in. I've then weighed out 800 grams of bread flour. Don't use self-raising or just normal standard flour, it just doesn't work properly. This has got a higher gluten content to it, which gives it its strength when it rises. So what we're going to do is we're going to add our water and oil mix into our flour mix, just all in one go. Just start giving it a mix around. I'll mix that around for a couple of minutes, and you can see now that it's quite wet and sticky, but it's not yet stringy and elastic like it should be. So what we're going to do is we're just going to leave that in the bowl overnight. We're just going to put a little bit more oil over the top. We're just going to wrap it in cling film in that same bowl and leave it overnight to prove. That's it for now, just leave it overnight to do its stuff. Just on the side will be absolutely fine. Hi everyone, welcome back to our focaccia recipe. Now as you can see, it's 1 o'clock in the afternoon for me the next day, so mine's been proving for about 15 hours, but anything over 8 hours will be absolutely fine. And I'll show you now what you should have in your bowl. So this is what your bowl should look like. You should have some nice little air bubbles poking around in there, a little bit of oil floating on the top, which is not a problem. That just means it won't create a skin overnight. If you give it a shake, you should have a nice little wobble to it. Also be very delicate with it at this point in time, because we don't want to knock any of the air bubbles out that have been trapped in there overnight. So our next step is we're going to line a tray with a little bit of greaseproof paper, pop in a little bit of oil into the bottom. Focaccia takes a lot of oil, so don't worry too much about that. And then we're carefully going to tip the contents of the bowl into here. You want to do this in one movement and just carefully prise it out. It shouldn't stick to the bottom. That can then go into there, like so, and that's in. Then, now it's in there, a little bit more oil over the top. You get your fingers in and just gently push it out a little bit. Don't force it. If it doesn't want to go into the corners straight away, don't worry about it. If it doesn't want to, just leave it for half an hour to rest and then come back and do it again. Just make sure you don't push any of the air bubbles out, or as few as possible. And you should end up with something like that. Okay, so now what we're going to do is I've got a few vegetables that I'm going to put on the top of it. So I've got a little bit of thyme, I've got some cherry tomatoes, a bit of red onion, a couple of bits of garlic, pepper that I had in the fridge from yesterday, and then we also need a little secret ingredient, which is a salt water brine. So in here is about 2 fingers worth of cold water, and we're going to pop in there a good couple of turns of salt, So you want it to taste like the sea, but nicer. That's nice and salty now, perfect. So now we're just going to start cutting up our veg. So dough's been resting for 5-10 minutes now. Now we're just going to add all our vegetables onto the top. So you can put them in a certain order if you want, or you can just scatter them about wherever you fancy. And when you put your vegetables on, just give them a little poke down into the dough. Put our onions on. You could put olives on top of here if you want as well. You could put some cheese on at the last minute, like 2 minutes before it's due to be finished cooked. We can put our peppers on. And sprinkle over our garlic. Sprinkle over our thyme, or whatever herb you want. You could put basil, dried basil on, oregano, rosemary. Doesn't really matter. And then I'm going to get our salt water brine, just give it a little spin round so it's moving. And then this is the weird bit of the recipe. We're just going to flick a little bit of this water on the top, not all of it, about that much. And then I like pepper on everything, so I'll put a bit of pepper on. A bit more salt. A little bit more oil. And then we'll just leave that for 15 minutes just to relax a little bit, and then we'll pop it in the oven. I forgot to say, if you don't want to put any of these bits and bobs on the top, you don't have to. You could just put some salt on, a little bit more olive oil, and leave it at that, and it will be just as nice. So we've got our oven set to about 200 degrees, all preheated. We're just going to get our focaccia that's been up on the side for about half an hour. Pop that in the oven. In we go. Put a timer on for 10 minutes at 200 degrees. We'll come back in 10 minutes. So this bread's been in for about 25-30 minutes now. Easiest way to find out if it's cooked is if you've got an instant read thermometer, pop it in, and it needs to get up to 93. That's just gone 96, 97, so that's plenty done. That means all the yeast has done all its work, and it doesn't need any more cooking after that. So there we go, we have a nice beautiful loaf of focaccia, nice and springy inside, all the lovely vegetables on top, great with a lovely bit of fresh butter on, beautiful.